What if I told you that happiness is not just a state, but a choice? Now hold on to your hats because we're about to take a deep dive into the world of joy, laughter, and all things happy. Happiness. It's that elusive state of mind we're all chasing, isn't it? We're all looking for it. In the big wins, in the little moments, even in the bottom of a tub of ice cream at 2 in the morning. But what if I told you that happiness isn't hiding? It's right there, in plain sight. Picture this. I was once stuck in a traffic jam, the kind that makes you question your life choices. Yet amidst the honking horns and the rising tempers, I found happiness. Yes, you heard it right. I found happiness in a traffic jam. How? I chose to. I chose to enjoy the music on the radio, to appreciate the sunset painting the sky, to laugh at the absurdity of the situation. And just like that, happiness was no longer a destination, but a journey. Now let's put on our science hats for a moment. Psychologists often speak of hedonic adaptation. It's a fancy term that simply means we humans have a remarkable ability to become used to changes in our lives, good or bad. Win a lottery and you're ecstatic, right? But give it a few months and that joy fades. The thrill becomes the norm. Similarly, when life throws lemons at us, we sulk at first, but eventually we adapt. We're resilient like that. So what does this mean for happiness? It means happiness isn't a constant. It's not a plateau where once you reach, you stay. It's a series of peaks and valleys. And that's okay. Because happiness, in its truest form, is not about the absence of pain or hardship. It's about finding contentment amidst them. So happiness isn't a destination, but a journey. It's not about where you're going, but how you choose to get there. But what happens when that journey feels like it's leading you into a dark abyss? This is the point where we talk about that dark cloud, depression. It's not just a case of the blues or a bad day at the office. It's a constant, relentless storm that can make even the simplest tasks seem like climbing a mountain. Depression is like a thick fog that obscures your view of the world. Everything is drained of color, of joy. It's an unseen weight that you carry, a shadow that follows you even in the brightest sunlight. It's a whisper in your ear telling you that you're not good enough, that you're alone, that you're unworthy of love and happiness. Now let me share a personal story with you. A few years ago, I found myself in the grips of this dark cloud. Every day felt like an uphill battle, like I was trudging through a thick, muddy swamp with no end in sight. The things I once loved lost their luster, and laughter felt as distant as a forgotten dream. But depression is not an invincible beast. It's a complex interplay of genetic, biological, environmental, and psychological factors. A combination of stress, trauma, and a predisposition can trigger its onset. It's not a sign of weakness or a character flaw. It's a serious medical condition that affects millions of people around the world. Experts tell us that depression can cause significant changes in how we function. It can disrupt our sleep, appetite, concentration, and energy levels. It can make us feel hopeless, worthless, and empty. But it's not just about the individual. The ripple effects of depression can touch everyone around us, from our family and friends to our colleagues and even our community. Depression is a storm, a tempest that can seem unending. But remember, every storm runs out of rain. It's about holding on, even when letting go seems like the easier option. Because the sun will rise again and the fog will lift. You are stronger than you think, and you are not alone. You have the power to weather this storm, and we're here to help guide you through it. Depression is a storm, but remember, every storm runs out of rain. It's about holding on, even when letting go seems like the easier option. So, how do we fight this invisible enemy that lives within us? Well, let me tell you, the battle against depression is a lot like a game of chess. It's a strategic fight, requiring both wit and patience. There's no one-size-fits-all strategy, but there are a few key moves that can help you gain the upper hand. Let's take a walk down memory lane for a second. A few years ago, I found myself in a similar position, locked in a battle against my own mind. It was daunting, to say the least. But the most important step, the one that really kick-started my journey to recovery, was acknowledging that I was in a fight to begin with. You see, once you've identified the enemy, you can begin to understand it, and only then can you start to strategize. Now this is where the experts come in. They're like the grandmasters of this chess game, and they've got a whole arsenal of strategies at their disposal. Things like cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness techniques, medication, and even simple lifestyle changes. These are all pawns on your chessboard, ready to move forward and take the enemy head on. But remember, you're not alone in this battle. Reach out to your friends, your family, your support network. They're your knights, your bishops, your rooks. They're there to protect you, to support you, to help you make the right moves. And then there's you. You're the king or queen of your chessboard. You're the most important piece, the one that the game revolves around. You have the power to make moves, to take control, to command your army against the enemy within. But let's not forget, this isn't a game that's won in a single move. It's a series of steps, a series of small victories. Each day, each moment that you choose to fight is a victory in itself. So remember, the battle with depression isn't won in a day. It's a series of small victories that add up to a larger triumph. But how can positivity help us in this battle? Well, let's dive into that, shall we? To start off, let's take a little detour and talk about a personal story. It's a story not of knights and dragons, but of an ordinary person battling their very own monster. This person, let's call them Alex, once found themselves in the throes of negativity, where every day felt like a struggle. But then, Alex discovered the power of positive thinking. Alex began by taking small steps, like repeating positive affirmations in the mirror each morning. I am strong, I am capable, I can overcome this. At first it felt silly, almost like a child playing pretend. But over time these affirmations began to take root within Alex, sprouting tiny seeds of positivity. With each passing day, Alex noticed a shift in their mindset. The gray clouds started to disperse, replaced by rays of sunshine. They found the strength to confront their inner demons and began to see the world in a new light. Life was still tough, but the battles became easier to fight. Of course, this is just a story, but it's a testament to the power of positivity. It's not some magical potion that instantly vanishes all problems, but rather a tool, a weapon to wield in the battle against negativity. But don't just take it from a story. Experts in the field of psychology have long been singing the praises of a positive mindset. Studies show that positive thinking can boost your mood, reduce stress, improve your immune system, and even increase your lifespan. But remember, positivity isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about ignoring the hardships or glossing over the pain. It's about acknowledging the negative, but refusing to let it get the best of you. It's about facing the storm head-on and saying, I can weather this. I am stronger than this storm. So the next time you find yourself in the midst of a battle, remember the story of Alex. Remember the power of positivity. Remember that you too have the strength to overcome your own storm. Positivity isn't about ignoring the negative, it's about overcoming it. So, how do we choose happiness in the face of adversity? Let's dive into that, shall we? Choosing happiness, it sounds simple, right? Like deciding between a latte or a cappuccino on a lazy Sunday morning. But when the storms of life are raging, it can feel more like choosing between a rock and a hard place. Now, I'm going to share a little bit of my own story here. There was a time in my life, not that long ago, when I was surrounded by darkness. Everything felt heavy, like I was carrying a backpack filled with bricks. But guess what? I chose happiness. Not because it was the easy choice, oh no, it was anything but that. I chose happiness because it was the only choice. You might be thinking, well, that's great for you, but how on earth do I do that? Well, let's talk about it. Choosing happiness is a conscious decision. It's about acknowledging the darkness, but not letting it consume you. It's about finding that one tiny spark in the vast, infinite universe of your mind and holding on to it. It's about letting that spark grow into a flame and letting that flame light up the darkness. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but here's some expert advice. Start with small steps. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small. Did you get out of bed today? That's a victory. Did you eat breakfast? Another victory. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. Practice gratitude. It's easy to focus on the negatives, but try to find something to be grateful for each day. Even something as simple as a beautiful sunset or a kind word from a friend can be a source of happiness. And most importantly, remember that it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to do this alone. Reach out to a friend, a family member, or a mental health professional. You are not alone in this journey. Choosing happiness doesn't mean that life gets easier. It just means that you're choosing to focus on the good, even when it's hard to see. Remember, your strength is greater than any struggle. You have the power to choose happiness, and that, my friends, is a beautiful thing. So, where does this leave us in our journey to happiness? We've explored the essence of happiness, understood the dark cloud of depression, and acknowledged the internal battle. We've celebrated the power of positivity and emphasized that choosing happiness is a conscious act. These are not merely concepts, but tools that equip us to face life's challenges. They remind us of the strength within us and our ability to conquer even the toughest of times. Remember, happiness isn't a destination, it's a journey, and the power to choose that journey is in your hands.